Hey, so I'm going to briefly try to go over what we talked about in class on Friday, I guess. And that is learning how to do orbital notation. So, orbital notation, essentially what it's doing is allowing us to see where the electrons are within an atom, and we have to know how to fill up atoms with electrons. So we talk about something called filling order. That is the order with which we fill electrons into an atom. One way of showing this is called orbital notation. And orbital notation uses arrows and lines to represent those electrons and orbitals. So remember, quick review, an S sublevel can only have one orbital, so we would represent that with a line, and we would put, S, we would put 1s, 2s, 3s, depending on the energy level. P can have 3 orbitals, so we draw a set of 3 lines, and then you label it with something P in the middle. D can have 5, so you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you put the D. Obviously, we're still talking about you'd put the energy level before the letter. And then F would have 7, so you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you'd put F. So, keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the elements. We're just going to start at the beginning and kind of slowly work our way up. So the first one is hydrogen. Hydrogen has 1 electron when it's neutral. And so when we have our little chart with the diagonals drawn, which maybe I should try to go ahead and put that on here. So you start 1s, 2s, 3s, 5s, 6s. We can actually go all the way up to 7s. Then the second energy level, you can start getting a P, and then you can add those. Oops, what am I doing? Let me get rid of this. Here we go. 3P, 4P, 5P. And then the third energy level can get a D. And then the fourth energy level can now get an F. So, in this, what you do is you draw arrows starting at the top right and going down, and this shows you the order that you will fill them. Like so. Okay, so if you just keep following the arrows the way that I drew them, you'll know the order to fill. So hydrogen, once again, has only 1 electron, so we're going to start at the 1s, and we'll draw 1 electron going up. I draw half arrows because the spin is plus 1/2 minus 1/2. You can't have 2 electrons with the same spin in the same orbital, so you're going to have one going up, one going down. You must fill up all of that orbital before you can move on to the next one. So we have to fill up all of the 1s before we can move on to the 2s. So helium in the 2s, I mean not 2s, sorry, 1s, is going to have 2 electrons, one up and one down. Now that that one's filled, we'll go on to lithium. Lithium has 3 electrons, so we got the 2 and the 1s. Now we have one more, so we can move on to the 2s, and we can fill that up. Skip a little bit down now to carbon. Carbon has a total of 6 electrons. So start in the 1s. We put 2 electrons in there, that's filled, so we move on to the 2s. Put 2 electrons in there, that's filled. So now we got to move on to the 2p. So I label it like that. And when you have multiple orbitals in a sublevel, you have to put 1 electron in each before you're allowed to double up. So instead of doing 1 up, 1 down, what we'll do is put 1 up and then the next one up, like that. And then the next one for nitrogen would go over in this space, and then after that you can double up and start filling in the second one. So that's kind of how that goes. I think that should cover what we talked about in class on Friday for now. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of help, and I will pick up there on another